Welcome to all of you on my channel. This is Samir Uddin. Firstly, I would like to request to all of you, please like, comment and subscribe my channel. Today, we are going to discuss very important topics. Welcome to all of you on my channel. This is Samiruddin. Firstly, I would like to request to all of you, please like, comment and subscribe my channel. Today I am going to start C programming crash course for beginners. This tutorial divides into three parts. Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. These three parts will complete the whole C programming concept. In first part, we will discuss among these topics. In next part, we will discuss some other topics like control flow structures. And then in our last topics, we will discuss some concept like function, strings, pointers, array structure, etc. This tutorials divides into three parts basically. I started this crash course for those who want to understand C programming language concept quickly and easily. It is also very helpful for placement preparation and for technical interviews. So let's enjoy this tutorial. I will also give you the whole C programming PPTs in part 3 of this tutorial. You can download this PPT from my description link. C is high-level structured programming language which developed in early 1970s by Dennis Ritchie at Bell Laboratories to be used by Unix operating system. C is structure-based programming language because it focuses on the process or logical structure of the code and it follows top-down approach. Basic structure of C generally consists of documentation, declaration, main function and some small set of functions. It invented by reference of some earlier developed programming language like ALGOL, CPL, Combined Programming Language, BCPL, Basic Combined Programming Language and B language. C is case sensitive programming language where capital A and small a both are different. C is called middle level language because it combination of both high level language and low level language. C is invented to write an operating system called Unix operating system. So, he is Dennis McAllister Ritchie, which developed C programming language. There are some differences between C over C++, like C is structured programming language as we discussed earlier, while C++ is a object-oriented programming language which consists of sub-object classes, polymorphism, data hiding, etc. some other concepts which I have already done in my Java tutorial. C follows top-down approach while C++ follows bottom-up approach. In top-down approach, normally a program will divide into number of subprograms or some functions, whereas bottom-up approach will create template first and then will create number of objects based upon those templates. There are other differences like C++ is more secure than C, but C is mother of programming languages because After understanding C programming language, learning other programs becomes more easier. Now, what is translator? Translator is a program that translates the source code into machine understandable code. As you know, high level language written in English type of language that must be converted into low level languages which a computer understand very easily. So it can be done by using a piece of software called translator. There are different kind of translator are available to say assembler, compiler and interpreter. Nowadays we uses compiler and interpreter. Compiler high level program or source code. Interpreter native executable or computer understandable code. As we discuss in Java programming tutorial, that is Java program, first source code is compiled, then source code generates a bytecode which interpreted through Java Virtual Machine JVM, and this bytecode converted into machine code by the help of Java Virtual Machine. So next, header file. Header file is a file with an extension of .h which contains C function declarations and macro definitions to be shared between several source files. Generally, there are two types of header files. First one is predefined header files. Second one is user-defined header file. Predefined header files, that file comes with your compiler, which is predefined header file, and user-defined header file through some specific task for some specific task, which is that is called user-defined header file. There are some header file like string.h for string handling function, stdio.h standard input and output functions, math.h for mathematical functions, alloc for dynamic memory allocation, conio.h for clearing the screen, stdlib for some miscellaneous function. There are some characteristics of C programming. As we know, C is a basic programming structure, so it is easy to learn structure. As we discussed earlier, it produces efficient program. As we know, C is a basic programming language. After learning C program, learning other programs become more easier. C is portable and extensible programming language. C is portable because we can able to write a C program in different system, even it will be run on another system using some modification or no modification. As well as C is extensible programming language because it enables to the user to add some small functions to the C libraries. C is small in size. It has only 32 or some more keywords. This makes easy to learn. As we know, token is the smallest unit in a program. In C language, all the combination of characters will form a word. Those words are called as a token. According to the usage of C program, there are 6 types of token. Keywords like float, while, identifier, constant, strings, special symbols, operators. There are 6 basic tokens. So, what are keywords? Keywords are represent reserved word. Keywords are reserved word whose meaning already known to the compiler, and every keyword has its specific purpose. ANSYS has only 32 keywords, whereas the latest version of C has been added 11 new keywords, so it becomes 43 keywords. Now, all the additional 11 keywords are called C11. Here you can see some example of keywords like sand, size of, which is used to determine the size of a variable, break, which is used to break an statement, char used for character, tab, continue used to continue the statement, auto used to declare automatic variable. There are some keywords which we will see later. Next is identifiers. Identifier used to define words. Identifier is nothing but user defined word, like a name of a person, like Shoaib, Tausif, Hemant, Rafi, etc. It is used to represent various programming elements such as variables, functions, arrays, structure, union, and so on. Here you can see int number, int integer type which which is a number, float which has a value, character char which has some alphabet. So next is variable. A variable is nothing but a name given by a storage area that our code or programs can manipulate. Each variable in C has a specific data type by which we can able to determine the size of a variable in memory. So there are some different types of variable like integer variable which has integer type data, character variable has character type data, float variable and double variable. Next is constant. Constant is an identifier whose value does not change during execution of program. So there are some example of constant also. So firstly, constant is divides into two parts: primary constant and secondary constant. Primary constant like arrays, pointer, structure, union, enumeration, and secondary constant like integer, real, character. So let's take an examples. So numeric constant and character constant. Integer constant like 5, 12, 2, minus 2. Real constant which include fractional part, fractional number 23.12 minus 2, 3.2 etc. Single character like A, W, S, E etc. String which includes some set of characters like hello, boy etc. And some backslash constant. There are some special symbol used in C programming such as hash used to include the libraries like standard input and output. There are some other purpose also. Next is comma that separate the variables. Colon label the delimiters. Semicolon end the statement. Parentheses used in a function like main and some user defined functions. Curly braces blocking the C structure. Square bracket used in array to determine the number of element or to declare a array. So next is operators. Operators is a very important topic. There are some different types of operator are there in C programming. So firstly, operator is a symbol which placed between two or more operand and helps to perform an operation. So there are different type of operator like arithmetic operator used to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and modulus operation. Next is relational operator used to compare two values greater than or less than equal to, greater than equal to or not equal to. Then logical operator. Logical operator generally used to perform logical and logical or operation. It is used to simultaneously evaluate two conditions with relational operator. Next is assigning operator equal to sign. It is used to assign some values to the variable. Ternary operator. It is used to a situation where either or condition has occurs. Next is unary operator. Generally, there are two types of unary operator, increment and decrement. Increment has prefix and postfix. Also, decrement has prefix and postfix. Increment increases the values of a variable by 1. In decrement, the values of a variable decreases by 1. We will also discuss later these two unary operator. Next is bitwise operator. Bitwise operator perform operation at bit level like bitwise and bitwise or bitwise XOR etc. There are some special operator like hash, comma, semicolon which we'll discuss earlier. Next is conditional operator. Conditional operator used to find a result. Like here you can see an example. We check the two values which is greater or less. Question marks, that means A greater or B greater. If A greater, then A execute, otherwise B execute. Next is size of operator. Find the size of a variable. Size of operator used to find the size of a variable inside memory. Next is data types. Data types determine a variable how much space occupies a variable. Data types generally determine the how much spaces occupies by a variable in storage. So there are data type categorized in three ways: primitive data type, derived data type, user defined data type. Primitive data type like character, integer data type, float data type, double data type, void data type. Void has contain nothing, null variable. Next, derived data type like array, pointer, functions. Then user defined data type like enumeration, structure and union. So here you can see a character data type. The size of all data type, character has 1 byte, int has 2 byte, float has 4 bytes and double has 8 bytes. Here you can see signed and unsigned. Unsigned means there is no carry negative ranges. So character has format is specified percentage %C. For integer you can use percentage %D. For float you can use percentage %F. For long you can use percentage %L with the some data type like percentage %LF for double. Some example of character like A, B, C, etc. Example of int like -25, 5, 0, comma 0. Some unsigned int. That means it no carry negative values. 255, 36777, etc. There are some other examples. So here you can see a basic program, basic C program. You can easily understand. First one is hash include stdio.h, which is header file. Generally preprocess command. It is preprocess command which tells the compiler to include the standard input and output libraries. It is called header file. Next one is int main. Main return the data type of integer. Integer data type written by main. So return the value of main function. Integer value written by the main function. Next is curly braces. So curly braces generally grouped or related statement. Here you can see curly braces group this printf and return 0 function. It is called body of a function. Next is printf. Printf generally print the text on screen which is defined in stdio.h, which is called a standard input and output directory. Here you can see the text. This text will print on the screen with the help of stdio.h, which included the preprocessor directory. Next is return 0. Return 0 used to return the value 0 to the operating system, and it means there is no error during execution of program. So this is about a basic C programming. So what is errors? Errors is occurs when a given input not completely translated to accurate output. Where when some data are missing in output from input. So there are three types of error in C programming. First is compilation error, runtime error and logical error. Compilation error generally occurs at a compile time of C program. It includes syntax error and semantic errors. Next is runtime error. Runtime error occurs at runtime of C program due to illegal operation performed in C program. Next is logical error. Logical error occurs in output of a program due to incorrect operation performed inside the body of a program. So these all are errors. Next is qualifier. So there are qualifier measured two different ways. According to size, there are three types of qualifier: short, long and long. Short is used for small range of data, long is for greater than short, and long is for greater than long data. Sign describe the sign of the data, that means negative or positive. So qualifier is a way to expressing additional information about any values or any variables. Next, type conversion. There are two types of type conversion in C programming. First is implicit or automatic conversion. Next is explicit or forced conversion. So generally tab conversion are automatically performed. It is done when the same expression has a variable of different data types. So to evaluate the expression, data type converted according to lower level data type to higher level data type according to this hierarchy. Here you can see an hierarchy: int, long int, unsigned int, long int according to this. Here you can see also an example: float salary, int sal. Then int is higher, then it is salary is automatically converted into sal. Next is tab casting. Tab casting, it is explicit for or forcefully conversion in which value of higher data type is converted into the value of lower level data type, but it is also under the programmer's control, while tab conversion is not under the programmer's control, but it can be done through the programmers. So it is controlled by the programmers. Here you can see also an example in sum 17 cont 15. Here tab casted integer to the double. Double is casted. So these are the tab casting and tab conversion. So this is our first part. In our next part, we will see functions, array, call by value, call by references, structure, union, and so on. So thank you for watching. Good luck. Goodbye. As we have done our C crash course part 1, let's begin our new tutorial C crash course part 2. Welcome to all of you on my channel. This is Samiruddin. Firstly, I would like to request to all of you, please like, comment and subscribe my channel. As we discuss these topics in my first part, so I suppose all of you watched my previous part. So today we will discuss these very important topics which related to control flow statements, loops and storage classes. Firstly, I want to explain the process of compilation, linking and execution in C programming. Suppose there are two methods or function calling inside main method as a source file, and this source file compiles through the compiler. Compiles this source file compiles through the compiler and produce object files with the extension of .obj like a1.obj, a2.obj, a3.obj. These all are object files. After that, object files links with the some header files through the linker and produce executable files with the extension of .exe. And during execution of the program, it loaded into the RAM. As a result, users can be able to see the output of the program. So this is how to compilation and execution process occurs in C programming. So now let's discuss control flow statement in C. It categorized in two ways. Some are conditional statement and others are unconditional statement. Conditional statement can be divided into decision making and control structure, and iterative control structure. While unconditional statement can be treated as jumping control structure. In decision making control structure like if else if leather and switch cases. In iterative control structure, we can use while loop, do while loop and for loops. In jumping control structure, we can use go to, break and continue like keywords. Let's discuss decision making and branching using simple if statement. We use the if statement with a condition that you need to test and it is provided within the brackets, and the condition is generally formed using the logical operators as well as relational operator. And if the condition returns 1 or true, then whatever written within curly braces of if block will be executed, otherwise program terminates, because there is no any other option or something else condition in simple if statement. So let's take an example to demonstrate the simple if statement. And you can see here the flow chart of if simple if statement. Here, if the statement will be true, then here is the option. You can choose umbrella, yes, true or false. So this is the practical example of simple if statement which written in code blocks. I have already written all the programs for minimize the video length. So these two are header files. As you know, hash include studio io.h stand for standard input and output. Generally, header files tell the compiler to include the some library files which we will uses in our program. Next is conio.h. Conio.h is used for the holding the screen like getch function etc. Next is main function. I write written main function. All of you know main function is an essential part of any C program, and any C program start execution with the main function. Next I have taken a variable age and I have printf taken input by the user with the help of scanf. Then I will give the if condition. If age greater than equal to 18, then only the printf will show the person is eligible for vote. Suppose if the age is less than 18, then it will nothing show. So let's see build and run. So here, suppose I take 34, then it's fine. But suppose I would like to enter less than 18, then what happens? So let's see. Suppose I then it will nothing show. It will show nothing because here the only if condition. Here is not the else part. So that's why the only one condition, one if condition is show. So these are if else statement. There is a one little difference between if and if else statement is that in if statement there is no other option of execution, but in case of if else statement there are two or more options are present. So we use also if else statement with the condition, and we need to test the condition which provided within the curly braces, and generally it's formed using logical operators and as well as relational operator. And if the condition written once, then whatever written within these brackets will be executed. Otherwise, flow of the statement moves under the curly braces of else block, and the statement within the else block will be executed. So let's see here flow chart. If the text expression 1 will true, then body of if will be executed. Otherwise, the text expression 1 is false, then the body of else statement will be executed. Then it terminates. So let's take an example to demonstrate how the if else keyword works. So this is the example of if else statement. As we discussed earlier, these are header files, these are main function. I have declared an age which entered by the user, and I have a if as well as else condition here. If the age is greater than 18, greater than equal to 18, then the person is eligible for vote. Otherwise, the person is not eligible for vote. So let's see the output. Suppose I give the age less than 18, then here the person is not eligible for vote. Here the if condition as well as else condition are there, which was not present in simple if condition. So these are the difference between if and if else statement. Now let's understand what is else if leather statement. Generally, leather means a piece of equipment used for climbing up and down. But here it is nothing but a collection of multiple if-else blocks. It is used when we have multiple conditions or at least more than two conditions are there. We have learned if-else. Now I am going to demonstrate the conception of else if leather statement using a practical example. Said we need to find out the grades of the student according to the obtained marks of the students. So here you can also see a flow chart. There is multiple if and multiple else block are there. So let's see an example to demonstrate the else if leather statement. Here the example of else if leather statement. Like previous example, I have taken two header files and main functions. I have declared a variable marks, and user have to enter the marks taken by the user. Then we have taken multiple number of if and else condition. If marks greater than equal to 19, then it will print the grade A. Else if print the grade B, grade C, likewise. So these are else if leather statements. So let's see the output. Suppose I entered 87, then it will print your grade is B. So now let me show you how we can use the switch case statement as an alternative to else if leather. We can able to write all else if leather statement with equivalent switch cases, but it's not suitable for write the switch cases in all times instead of else if leather, because sometimes writing switch cases can be complex. So you should exactly know when you are going to use switch case and when you are to avoid it. Let's first understand the syntax of switch case. Then I can tell you when you could avoid switch case. So you can see here switch cases which include the integer n. If case 1 is satisfied, then code to be executed in n equal to constant 1. Then it will be break. Otherwise, case 2 will be executed. There is one more information I would like to tell you, that you can switch only integer or character type variable, and you cannot have a real number, float and a double number here within the switch case block, because that's illegal. Suppose if the given case ranges is longer, say some cases which falls between 1 to 100 times. So in these cases you can avoid switch case, because it is not better to write any statement 100 times. So in these cases we can use if else method. So if you having range based testing, it would be better to static, it would be better to use else if leather statement. But if you having equality based testing, then you can use switch cases. So let's take an example to demonstrate switch case properly. Before that, here you can see flowchart. According to text expression, bodies of the switch cases will be executed. Suppose if there are no cases matched with the expression, then only the default case will be executed and program will terminate. Here, here you can see break statement also. It is used for terminates a particular cases. So it will be discussed later in details. So let's take an example to demonstrate how switch cases can be taken. So this is the example of switch case. Here I include one more library header files, which is stdlib.h, which is used for some miscellaneous functions. In this program we can take two functions, one for square, another for rectangle. I will print the area and perimeter of the rectangle as well as area and perimeter of the square. Here you can see I have taken L stand for length, for width, for area and for perimeter. Then I have taken the formula for the rectangle. Area is equal to length into breadth, perimeter is equal to L plus B multiplied by 2, and here the printer area. Same as for square, I have taken the area and perimeter for square. Then inside main function I have taken a while condition and a switch condition in ch character. If the case 1 is satisfied, then the area of rectangle and perimeter of rectangle will show. If case 2 will satisfy, then the area and perimeter of square will show. Otherwise it executed. There is no default case here. So let's see the output. Here you need to choose the option. Suppose I choose 2. So enter the side of the square. So, right. then the area 16 and perimeter also 16 because the sides are equal. So that's the example of switch case. Let's go introduction about loops. Now, before introduction of loops, you can understand how the loop is going to be helpful. It can be change the multiple lines of codes into a single line. Suppose when we have right to do something for 5,000 or 50,000 times, then same kind of activity loop replaces 50,000 number of lines into one line. Here you can see a syntax of while loop. This loop iterates as long as this condition is true. You can see that this is termination condition. This is termination condition of the while loop. And this block of code and this block of codes is called body for the loop. There is one more thing about while loop is that there is a statement present in while might not be executed at all and it's depend on the text expression. Also here you can see a flowchart diagram for while loop. Body of the while loop executed until the condition is satisfied. If the condition becomes false, then it terminates. So let's see an example to demonstrate working of while loop. So this is a practical example of while statement, while condition. So as previous I have taken two header files, standard input and output and for holding the screen. And inside the main I have taken an integer variable and initialize it as 1. And I have taken while condition. In this program we need to print the first 10 natural number. That's why I have initialized it as 1. And the condition shows I less than equal to 10. That means it will print 1 to 10. So let's check the output. So this will show the all 10 first natural number. So this is about. So let's move on to while loop. When we have discussed about while, I told that there is a chance that statement present in while might not be executed at all. But here in case of do while loop, only difference is that body of the code will be executed at least once, whatever the condition are satisfied or not. Here please look at flowchart of do while loop. Here as you can already seen that after the code will be executed then only the while condition will be checked. After the code will be executed then only the while condition is checked. So for better understanding we can take an practical example of do while loop. This is the example of do while loop. In case of while loop, only while condition was present. But in case of do while loop, do as well as while are present. Here you can see I have taken a count equal to 0 and I have taken an integer value and initialize it as 1. But here a difference is that before the while condition I have taken the do loop. That means whatever the condition here is not meter, but at least once this loop will be executed. So here after printing the 10 natural number, the count of all 10 natural number also print here. because I have taken a count, it counted and also incremented that values. So let's see the output. So here you can see after the printing 10 natural number, the sum of all 10 natural number also printed, because here do loop at least once will be executed, whatever the condition is not met. So this is the little difference between while and do while. Now, similar way to while loop, we can use for loop as well. So, if you have a piece of code and if it needs to execute again and again, then instead of writing it many times, just write it once and put it in a loop. And this loop will be executed many times. So, till now we have done do while loops. Exactly the same way we can use for loop, but the syntax of the for loop is much more compact than the while loop. So let's see how this for loop is going to work. As we know, there are three things that controls the looping activity. The first section is called initialization section, where we usually write the initial addition activity. When the controls enter into the for loop for the first time, whatever we write inside for loop that will execute it. Then the termination condition and modification of the variable takes place. These three things we can able to write in a compact way within a for loop. Let me show you the syntax of for loop. Here you can see the firstly we can initialize the variable, then check the condition, and then we can use increment or decrement operator according to the problems. So we can take an example where we have to print first 10 natural number. So here you can see the example of for loop, simple example of for loop. Here also I have taken two header files, and within the main I have taken an integer variable n, and for the new line we have taken here printf slash n, get specified. Then I have taken n is equal to 1 colon n less than equal to 10 and n plus plus. Remember, remember in while loop I initialize, I have checked the condition, I have incremented separately. But in case of for loop, I have initialized as well as checking the condition and increment or decrement the values in a compact way. So this is the for loop, and so let's see the output. So here you can see the first 10 natural number print here. So this is the for loop. One more loop I would like to mention you to, that what is infinite loop. Infinite loop nothing but a loop that go on executing forever or never terminates because lack of exit conditions are called infinite loop. An infinite loop or endless loop is a sequence of instructions in a computer program which loops endlessly, either due to the loop having no termination condition or loop to start over. Sometimes we create these loops by mistake. in our programs, while in some cases we purposely create them in our program. So let's take some examples and see what kind of mistake can lead to infinite loop. So let's see the example where I have printed infinite loop using for loop. I just put two column inside for loop. So it will print it forever and it will not stop. So let's see how it will show. So you can see here it will print it forever and it will never stop until I will close it. It will not stop. So let it close. Also, I have one more infinite loop. I have give the condition. Here you can see I have taken an integer and initialize them as 0 and check the condition I less than 100 and I have decremented the value. That means it will never stop because value decremented as long as possible. It will never stop. How can so let's see. Value start from -1, -2, minus values goes on minus up to -n. So this is how the infinite loop works. So what is the solution to break the infinite loop? So here you can see a piece of code where we can use while one. For breaking this infinite loop, we use here break. While when we have typed q keyword q in our keyboard, then loops will be break. So you need to condition to break out your while loop. So I will break out if the entered character was q, or if you insist on while, you could use the break keyword. So let's start jumping control structure, in which we need to discuss about go to, break and continue statement and their programming examples. So let's start with go to statement. A go to statement in a C program provides an unconditional jump from the go to statement to a labeled statement in the same function. But using of goto statement is highly discouraged in any programming language because it makes difficult to trace the control flow of the program, and also it making the program hard to understand and hard to modify. And program that uses goto statement might be rewrite to avoid it. So here you can see a flow chart where shows that statement 1 moves towards statement 3 using go to keyword. So let's take an example to clearly understand working of go to statement. Let's see how the go to keyword works. Here you can see within the main function I have declared the variable a and initialized as 10, and I have taken a do loop for go to statement. Suppose I have checked the if condition if a is equal to 15. After that a will increment it. Suppose a approaches up to 15, then the go to loop will work. It will move to it will move the loop to here, and number 15 will skip, because here while a less than equal to less than 20, so it will print 10, 11, 12 and skip 15, then 16, 17, 18, 19. So let's see the output. So 10, 11, 12, 13 and 15 will skip. So this is Bluetooth. Now we need to understand two important keywords, break and continue. Break and continue used to control the looping activity in a much more efficient and convenient way. The break keyword in C programming has two usages. First, when a break statement is encountered inside a loop, the loop is immediately terminated and the program control resume at the next statement following the loop. And secondly, it can be used to when and secondly, it can be used to terminate a case in switch statement. If you are using nested loops, then the break statement will stop the execution of innermost loop and start executing the next line of code after the block. Here you can see flowchart of break statement, in which we clearly observe that if the condition is true and break statement are present, then the loop is immediately terminated and the program controls resume at the next statement or terminated. So let's take an example to understand break keywords. So it is an example of break keywords. Here I have taken main function, and inside main function I have taken an integer variable and initialize as 10, and we have taken a while loop. Inside while loop we have a less than 20. That means the value of a will be printed from 10 to 20, but here also the value implemented, but if the a greater than 50, then I have taken a break. That means when it comes to 15, it will be, it terminates the program. Let's see how the output looks like. So here you can see after appearing 15, then the program terminates. So it's happened by using this break condition. Let's talk about continue statement. The continue statement in a C programming works somewhat like a break statement, but only difference is instead of forcing termination, it forces the next iteration of the loop to take place, skipping any code in between two lines of code. Continue keyword works within the loop. You cannot use continue outside of the loop. Now let's understand flowchart of continue statement. Assume that you are writing a text expression or any loop and which comes across the continue statement. Then the flow across the test condition, then you will directly go to the condition. If the condition is true, codes will be executed. Otherwise, loop will be terminated. So let's see a practical example to understand properly working of continue. So it is demonstration of the continue statement. In break and continue statement, uh, Little difference is that here also I have taken the variable initialize as 10. I have taken do loop. If a is equal to 15, then incremented the value from 10 to while a is than 20. That means it will execute 10 to 19. But when the if the value of a becomes 15, then it will not terminate. Then the program will not terminate, but the 15 value will the skip the 15 value, and the loop will goes to the next value. That means 16. Here 15 is not print, will not print. So let's see the output. How output look like. Here you can see clearly 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But 15 value is skipped. So this is the difference between break and continue statement. In break, if the condition break break terminates the program, but continue will skip the some particular condition, but not terminates the program. So this is all about. Till now, we have completed decision making control structure, iterative control structure, and jumping control structure successfully. Now, we are going to talk about storage classes. A storage classes defines the scope, visibility, and lifetime of a variable and function within C program. The lifetime means how long a variable is going to remain allocated in the primary memory. By default, the storage class is taken as auto, stand for automatic, for all C programs. They precede the tag that they modify. So, there are four different types of storage classes. Auto stands for automatic, register, static, and external. So, we will go to now about each of them separately. So, let's discuss about auto keyword. These variables are also called local variable because these are local to the function and it by default has some garbage value. Since these variables are declared inside a function, therefore this can only be accessed inside the function. Also, it is no need to put auto while declaring these variable because these are by default already auto. So this is about auto keyword. Next, move to the external keyword. So external keyword is used to give a reference of a global variable that is visible to all program files. When we use the external keyword, the variable cannot be initialized as all. It points to the storage location where it has been previously defined. Suppose when you have a multiple files and you define a global variable or a function which will be used in another file also. Then external keyword will be used in another file to give the reference of defined variable in your first file. Just we can say that external is used to declare a global variable or function in another files. Here, please look at the example. Here, external is used to external is used in file 2 as a reference of variable a which present in file 1. Now let's talk about register keyword. Register is used to define a local variables that should be stored in a register instead of RAM. This means that the variable has a maximum size equal to the register size. As because register variable is more faster than the normal variable. In register variable, you cannot able to apply any unary operator, for example ampersand, because it doesn't have any memory location. And register keyword is only be used for variable that require quick access like pointer. Here you can see an example in which the register variable used for the counting the numbers. Also, one thing I would like to mention about register keyword is that defining register variable doesn't mean that the variable will be stored in a register always, whereas it might be stored in a register or not. Now about static. When we declare a variable as a static variable, then the life of a variable becomes equal to the life of the programs. That means the variable is allocated as soon as program start, and it will remain allocated to the program, and it will deallocate when the program ends. As we have seen that the external variable have a global scope across the entire program. Similarly, static keywords also provide a lifetime over the entire program. Also, static variable automatically initialize to 0 upon memory location, and a static storage class can be specified as automatic as well as external variables. So let's move on this table. Here you can see storage classes and their all description. Also, you can summarize all storage classes through this table. Auto storage, auto variable is stored in stack and it contains initially garbage value within the block, and life of the auto variable end of this block only. Now external variable is stored in data segment with the initial value 0, and it can be accessed by multiple files, and life of the external variable till the end of the program. Similarly, static variable also has the till end of the program. But scope of the static variable within the block. It cannot be used for multiple files. Then register. Register key variable is stored in CPU register. Might be in CPU register, and initial value of register variable is garbage. It also exists within the block, and the life of register variable also end of the block. Till now, we have completed our crash course part 1 as well as part 2. After that, we have to upload our next part, C programming crash course part 3, as soon as possible. One more thing I would like to mention, if you want to download this slide, you can able to download this slide on my description link. In our next and last video, we will discuss some more important topics like function, strings, scope tools, array, pointer, structure union, command line arguments, file handling, etc. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe for no next video. Good luck. Goodbye.